When we think about love, most of us focus on how to find it, but very few of us stop to ask, how do I keep it healthy? How do I make it last? A relationship isn't something we stumble into, it's something we build, brick by brick, every single day. And to build something strong, we need skills, not luck. The first skill is knowing why you're in the relationship in the first place. If you're together because you were afraid of being alone, because it looked good on paper, or because it felt convenient, then you're standing on shaky ground. But when you're together because you share values, because you believe in each other's growth, because you want to walk the same direction, not just today, but in the future, then you've laid a foundation that can weather the storms. Start with why. The second skill is empathy, real empathy. Not just listening to the words, but hearing the feelings beneath them. Not just waiting your turn to talk, but making space for your partner's experience, even when it's messy, even when it's hard to hear. Empathy says, I see you, I hear you, I may not understand everything you feel, but I'm willing to try. And that willingness is everything. The third skill is clear, courageous communication. Too many relationships fall apart, not because people stop loving each other, but because they stop saying the things that matter. We assume, we expect, we wait for the other person to read our minds, but love doesn't thrive in silence, it thrives in truth. Say what you mean, ask the question you're scared to ask, tell the truth even when your voice shakes. That's what builds safety. That's what builds trust. Every relationship begins somewhere. Maybe it starts with attraction, maybe with friendship, maybe with shared interests or a spark you can't quite explain. But at some point, if you want that relationship to be healthy, strong, and lasting, you have to ask yourself a fundamental question. Why are we together? Not just why did we meet or why did we fall in love, but why are we choosing to build a life together? That question matters more than most of us realize. Because here's the truth. When we don't know why we're in a relationship, we fill the gap with assumptions. We stay because it's familiar. We stay because we're afraid of being alone. We stay because it looks good on paper. Or because we're afraid to start over, or because we don't want to hurt someone. But none of those reasons create the kind of relationship that fulfills us. They create relationships that survive, but not relationships that thrive. And there's a big difference between the two. Starting with why forces us to dig deeper. It challenges us to look beyond the surface level answers. Are we together because we share the same goals, because we want to grow in the same direction, because we believe in each other's dreams? Or are we together because we're filling a void, because we're checking a box, because we're hoping someone else will complete us? That last one's a trap many people fall into, looking for someone to make them whole. But no one else can do that work for you. You bring your wholeness into the relationship, or you risk making the relationship responsible for fixing you. And that's a burden no relationship can carry for long. When you know your why, you gain clarity, and with clarity comes strength. You're not just staying because it's convenient, you're staying because it's meaningful. You're not just hoping things work out, you're intentional about building something that aligns with your values. That clarity becomes your compass when things get tough. Because every relationship faces challenges. Every relationship hits seasons where things feel hard, where you question, where you struggle. If you don't know why you're in it, you'll be more likely to give up or drift apart when the storms come. But if you know your why, you'll have an anchor. You'll have something deeper to hold onto than just feelings, which will always rise and fall. And your why isn't static, it evolves. The purpose you had for being together at the beginning might not be the same 5 years later. Maybe you started out wanting companionship, and later your why grows into building a family or creating a shared mission or supporting each other's dreams. That's why it's so important to keep asking the question, to keep revisiting it. Why are we doing this? Why are we choosing each other still every day? Because when you stop asking, you risk drifting into autopilot. And relationships on autopilot don't stay healthy. They stagnate. Starting with why also keeps you accountable. It makes you reflect on whether the relationship is aligned with your deepest values. If your why is rooted in love, respect, and growth, then you're going to make different choices than if it's rooted in fear, obligation, or convenience. You're going to invest differently. You're going to show up differently. You're going to handle conflict differently. Purpose shapes behavior. And a relationship with purpose invites you to be your best self, not just for your partner, but for yourself. Too many people treat relationships like a finish line. They think if I can just find someone, then I've made it. But finding someone isn't the goal. Building something meaningful together is the goal. A relationship isn't an achievement, it's a journey. And the journey only makes sense if you know where you're trying to go. That's what starting with why gives you: direction, intention, meaning. Without it, Even love can get lost. With it, love has a reason to grow. Because at the end of the day, love isn't just about how you feel, it's about what you're building. And every strong structure needs a foundation. Your why is that foundation. It's the reason you get up every morning and choose each other again. It's the reason you fight through the hard times. It's the reason you stay when it'd be easier to walk away. And when you both know your why, when you're clear, aligned, and intentional, you're not just loving each other, you're building something that can last. Empathy is one of those words we hear all the time, but few of us stop to think about what it really means in the context of a relationship. It's not about feeling sorry for your partner or just saying, I understand. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, not just intellectually, but emotionally. It's choosing to step outside your own perspective and imagine what it's like to be them, in their experience, in their feelings, in their world. And in a healthy romantic relationship, empathy isn't something you practice once in a while when things are hard. It's something you commit to every single day. Because every day, your partner is carrying something you might not fully see. Every day, they're moving through their own fears, frustrations, hopes, disappointments, and dreams. And if you're not intentional about practicing empathy, you'll miss those deeper currents. You'll only see what's on the surface, the short words, the irritation, the withdrawal. Without empathy, it's easy to take things personally. It's easy to assume the worst. It's easy to respond defensively. But empathy invites you to pause. It invites you to ask, what else might be going on here? What might they be feeling that they can't say out loud? What pain or pressure are they carrying that I haven't noticed? Practicing empathy daily means listening not just to words, but to tone, to body language, to silence. It means noticing when something feels off, and instead of ignoring it or brushing it aside, gently leaning in. It means asking questions without judgment, and being willing to sit with answers that are messy, incomplete, or uncomfortable. It means not rushing to fix, not minimizing their feelings, not making it about you. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply hold space for their experience, to let them know you're allowed to feel this. I'm here with you in it. I won't leave you alone in it. Empathy also means remembering that your partner's reality is shaped by their own history, their own wounds, their own fears. What might seem small to you might feel huge to them because of what they've been through. What seems irrational to you might make perfect sense in the context of their story. Practicing empathy daily is a commitment to honoring that story, even if you don't fully understand it, even if you don't always agree. And here's the paradox. The more empathy you extend, the more empathy you'll receive. When your partner feels safe to be vulnerable with you, when they know they won't be shamed, dismissed, or belittled, they'll start offering that same space back to you. Empathy creates a feedback loop of safety. It builds trust. It softens defenses. It deepens intimacy. It turns conflict from something that drives you apart into something that can bring you closer. But empathy takes effort. It takes patience. It takes humility. It takes the willingness to slow down and pay attention, even when life is busy, even when you're tired, even when you feel like they should know better or should be over it by now. Empathy asks you to meet your partner where they are, not where you wish they were. It asks you to choose compassion over criticism, curiosity over control. And empathy isn't about perfection. You're going to get it wrong sometimes. You're going to miss the cues. You're going to respond poorly, say the wrong thing, make it about you without realizing it. That's part of being human. Practicing empathy daily doesn't mean you never fail. It means you keep trying. It means you come back after you mess up and say, I see now how that hurt you. I'm sorry. Help me understand better next time. Over time, those daily acts of empathy, those small, quiet choices to lean in, to listen, to care, build something powerful. They create a relationship where both people feel seen, heard, and valued. They create a space where love isn't just a feeling, but an action. And in that space, love doesn't have to be perfect to be strong. It just has to be real, honest, and willing to grow. Because at the end of the day, empathy is the bridge that connects two imperfect people trying to love each other well. And if you're willing to walk that bridge every day, no matter how many times you stumble, you'll find yourselves standing together on something solid, something deep, something lasting. One of the biggest reasons relationships break down isn't because love disappears. Communication starts to unravel. We stop saying what we mean and we start assuming what the other person thinks, feels, or wants. And assumptions are dangerous because they create stories in our minds that aren't always true. We fill in the blanks based on our fears, our insecurities, our past experiences. And before we know it, we're not relating to the person in front of us. We're relating to the story we've made up about them. Communicating with clarity means refusing to play that guessing game. It means committing to saying the truth out loud, even when it's uncomfortable. It means being willing to ask questions instead of jumping to conclusions. When something feels off, instead of assuming you know why, you ask. When something hurts, instead of pretending it doesn't, you name it. When you want something, instead of waiting for your partner to read your mind, you express it. Because the reality is, no matter how close you are, your partner can't read your mind. They're not inside your head. And expecting them to just get it without clear communication sets both of you up for frustration and disappointment. Clarity doesn't mean harshness. It doesn't mean being blunt to the point of cruelty. It means being honest with kindness. It means choosing words that are true and respectful at the same time. It means saying what's real for you without attacking what's real for them. It's the difference between saying, "You never care about me," and saying, "I felt hurt yesterday when you didn't check in with me." One creates defensiveness. The other invites understanding. Clarity opens the door for dialogue. Assumptions close it. Communicating with clarity also requires courage, because sometimes the truth is scary. Sometimes it feels easier to stay quiet, to keep the peace, to avoid rocking the boat. But silence doesn't create peace. It creates distance. Every unspoken truth becomes a brick in the wall between you. And over time, that wall gets higher until one day you wake up on opposite sides wondering how you became strangers. Speaking clearly, even when it's hard, is how you keep that wall from being built in the first place. Clarity also means checking in on meaning. Just because you said something doesn't mean it was heard the way you intended. Communication isn't just about the message you send, it's about the message they receive. Sometimes we think we're being clear, but what we said landed differently. Communicating with clarity means being willing to follow up, to ask, "What did you hear me say?" and to correct misunderstandings with patience instead of frustration. It means remembering that words are filtered through emotions, experiences, and assumptions on both sides. Clarity is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. And clarity is just as important in listening as it is in speaking. When your partner shares something with you, do you really hear them? Or are you listening through the lens of your own assumptions, ready to defend or explain? Listening with clarity means putting aside your agenda long enough to really understand. It means reflecting back what you're hearing to make sure you're getting it. It means valuing understanding more than being right. When clarity becomes a daily practice, the relationship starts to feel safer. Safer to tell the truth, safer to admit mistakes, safer to be vulnerable. And in that safety, love can deepen, trust can grow, misunderstandings can be repaired before they turn into resentments. Too many couples live in parallel monologues instead of real dialogue. Each person talking, but no one truly connecting. Communicating with clarity breaks that pattern. It brings you back to each other. It keeps the relationship aligned. It ensures you're walking the same direction, not just side by side, but hand in hand. At the end of the day, clarity isn't about perfection. It's not about never having misunderstandings. It's about building a habit of coming back together, of checking in, of making sure nothing important is left unsaid. Because it's not what's unspoken that builds intimacy, it's what's spoken clearly, kindly, courageously. And when both people are committed to that kind of clarity, love doesn't have to guess, love knows. Love is often portrayed as something dramatic, something grand, something that sweeps us off our feet. We're told that real love is proven in big moments, lavish gifts, surprise vacations, epic declarations. But the truth is, it's not the grand gestures that hold a relationship together, it's the small, consistent acts. The quiet ways you show up day after day that tell your partner, "I see you, I choose you, I'm here." Consistency builds trust. And trust isn't built in a day, it's built in 1,000 tiny moments, repeated over time. It's the way you follow through on what you say. It's remembering what matters to your partner, even when they haven't reminded you. It's sending that text to check in, showing up to support their big day, taking 5 minutes to really listen after a long day. It's doing the little things, not because you have to, but because you want to. Small acts of consistency create a foundation of safety. They say, "You can count on me. You don't have to wonder if I'll disappear when things get hard. You don't have to question if I'll still care tomorrow." And that safety allows love to relax, to breathe, to deepen. Because love that constantly has to prove itself in big ways is exhausting. But love that shows up steadily, quietly, faithfully, that's the kind of love that lasts. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you never mess up, never forget, never fall short. It means you keep coming back. It means you keep choosing to show up again even after you've failed. It's not about never breaking a promise. It's about making it right when you do. It's not about being flawless. It's about being dependable. Because at the end of the day, no one is looking for a perfect partner. We're all just looking for someone we can trust. Someone whose actions match their words, not just once, but over time. And here's the thing, small acts don't stay small. Over time, they accumulate. Every time you choose patience over irritation, every time you choose kindness over sarcasm, every time you choose to lean in instead of pulling away, you're adding another brick to the foundation of your relationship. And those bricks matter. They create something solid, something that can withstand pressure, something that won't crumble the moment life gets difficult. A lot of people underestimate the power of consistency because it's not flashy, it doesn't always feel exciting. But love isn't supposed to be a constant high. Real love is steady. Real love is reliable, and consistency doesn't kill romance, it sustains it. Because the more secure you feel with someone, the freer you are to be playful, spontaneous, creative. The safer you feel, the more room there is for joy. Consistency isn't boring. It's the soil where intimacy grows. Committing to small acts of consistency also holds you accountable. It challenges you to stay intentional. It's easy to show up in big ways at the beginning when everything feels new and exciting. But the real test of love is what you do in the ordinary days, the routine moments, the seasons where things feel harder. Will you still pay attention? Will you still prioritize them? Will you still offer kindness when you're tired, patience when you're frustrated, gentleness when you're stressed? Those choices matter. Because love isn't just something you feel, it's something you do. And the doing happens in the daily, in the way you say good morning, in the way you remember their favorite coffee, in the way you reach for their hand without thinking, in the way you sit together in silence when there's nothing to say, in the way you keep showing up, especially when it's not convenient, especially when life gets messy. At the end of the day, commitment isn't proven by one big moment. It's proven by how you love in the small, ordinary, sometimes overlooked ways. Those are the ways that say, you matter, I see you, I won't take you for granted. I'm in this not just today, but every day. And when both people commit to those small acts of consistency, the relationship stops being something fragile you have to protect and becomes something strong you can trust. It's tempting to think that strength in a relationship comes from having all the answers, from always being in control, from never showing weakness. We live in a world that praises confidence, decisiveness, and power. But in love, real strength doesn't come from ego, it comes from vulnerability. It comes from the willingness to take off the armor, to put down the shield, to say, this is me. Here's where I've been hurt. Here's what I need. Here's what I dream about. Here's where I feel small, insecure, uncertain. Leading with vulnerability is not about oversharing or putting your pain on display for attention. It's about honesty. It's about having the courage to let your partner see the parts of you that aren't polished, the parts that don't have it all together. Because love can't grow in a place where you're pretending. Love needs truth. Love needs openness. And ego will always tell you to hide. Ego will say, don't admit you were wrong. Don't show that you're afraid. Don't let them see that you're hurting. Don't ask for what you need. Just wait for them to figure it out. Ego wants to win. But in love, winning isn't the goal. Connection is. When you lead with vulnerability, you invite your partner to do the same. You create a space where it's safe to be human, safe to be imperfect, safe to not have it all figured out. And that safety is what builds intimacy. It's what builds trust. Vulnerability says, I trust you enough to let you see me. And when both people are willing to meet each other in that place, love deepens, walls come down, masks fall away. You stop performing for each other and start being real with each other. But vulnerability isn't easy. It feels risky. It feels like giving someone a map to the places where they could hurt you most. And the truth is, yes, being vulnerable means you might get hurt. It means disappointment is possible, but not being vulnerable guarantees something worse. Disconnection. Because if you're not willing to let someone see the real you, you'll always feel alone, even if you're standing side by side. Well, and you can't be fully loved if not fully known. Leading with vulnerability also means owning your feelings instead of blaming your partner for them. It's saying, I felt hurt when this happened, and say, instead of, you're the reason I feel this way. It's taking responsibility for your own inner world while inviting your partner into it. It's not using vulnerability as a weapon or a manipulation. It's using it as a bridge, a way to close the gap between you. Ego, on the other hand, keeps score. Ego wants to win arguments. Ego wants to be right. Ego hates saying sorry first. But love doesn't care who's right. Love cares about repair. Love cares about coming back together. Vulnerability says, I'd rather be close than be right. I'd rather understand than win. I'd rather soften than harden. And in that softening, healing happens. Leading with vulnerability doesn't mean you lose yourself. It doesn't mean you abandon healthy boundaries or tolerate mistreatment. It means you stay true to who you are while allowing someone to truly know you. It means asking for help when you need it. It means admitting when you're scared. It means being honest about your desires, your dreams, your disappointments. It means saying, I love you even when you're afraid it might not be returned. At the end of the day, leading with vulnerability is a choice you make every single day. It's not a one-time gesture. It's a posture of the heart. It's a willingness to keep showing up honestly even after you've been hurt. It's a willingness to risk rejection in order to experience real connection. And it's a commitment to love with your whole heart, not just the parts that feel safe, because love led by ego builds walls. Love led by vulnerability builds bridges. And if you want a love that lasts, a love that grows deeper over time, a love that doesn't just look good on the outside but feels good on the inside, you have to be willing to lead with vulnerability. That's where the real strength is. That's where the real connection is. That's where love stops being a performance and starts being a partnership. So many people enter relationships with a silent scorecard. Every gesture, every favor, every sacrifice gets tallied. I did this for you, so you owe me that. I gave you this, so you better give me something back. And without even realizing it, love starts to feel more like a negotiation than a connection. But real love isn't a transaction. It's not about keeping the books balanced. It's about building a partnership, a place where both people show up, not to get as much as they can, but to give as much as they can. A partnership means you're on the same team. It means you're not standing across from each other, arguing over who's winning or who's giving more. You're standing side by side, looking out at life together, figuring out how to face the challenges, celebrate the wins, and grow stronger as a unit. It's not 50-50, it's 100%, both ways. Some days you'll have more to give, other days your partner will carry more. But when you're building a partnership, you don't keep score because you trust that over time it balances out. You trust that you're both committed to the same goal, building something strong, lasting, and meaningful. In a transaction, the focus is on fairness. In a partnership, the focus is on contribution. You don't give love to get something back. You give love because that's who you choose to be. You don't do kind things so they'll owe you later. You do kind things because that's the kind of partner you want to be. And when both people embrace that mindset, something powerful happens. Love stops feeling fragile. It stops feeling conditional. It starts feeling like a safe place where you can both rest, recharge, and be yourselves without fear of being measured or weighed. A partnership also means you're invested in each other's growth. You want to see each other win. You celebrate their successes, not as something separate from you, but as something you're part of. Their joy is your joy. Their pain is your pain. You're not threatened by their dreams. You're their biggest encourager. You don't hold them back so you can stay comfortable. You push them forward because you believe in their potential. In a partnership, you're not competing with each other. You're building something together, brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. Building a partnership means thinking long term. It means asking, what kind of life do we want to build? What kind of love do we want to cultivate? It's not just about today's emotions or this week's frustrations. It's about creating something that can weather storms, something that can grow deeper with time. It means having hard conversations now so you don't avoid problems that will only grow later. It means being proactive, not reactive. It means choosing the relationship over your ego, over your pride, over the temporary satisfaction of being right. Partnership also requires trust. And trust isn't just about fidelity. It's about knowing you can count on each other emotionally, mentally. It's about believing that even when you disagree, you're still fighting for each other, not against each other. It's knowing that even when things are hard, neither of you is going to give up and walk away at the first sign of trouble. Trust gives you the freedom to be vulnerable, to be imperfect, to try and fail and try again because you know you're safe in each other's commitment. When love becomes transactional, it creates distance. Every unmet expectation becomes a point of resentment. Every mistake feels like betrayal. But when love is a partnership, mistakes are opportunities to learn, challenges are opportunities to grow. Every hardship becomes another layer of trust, another story you've overcome together. At the end of the day, building a partnership means making love bigger than just your feelings. Feelings will rise and fall, passion will ebb and flow, but commitment, trust, respect, those are the pillars that hold the partnership up. And when both people are committed to being partners, not just participants, the relationship stops being a place where you perform for each other and starts being a place where you belong to each other. That's the kind of love that lasts. That's the kind of love worth building. Not a transaction, a partnership, a team, a commitment to walk side by side, not because you have to, but because you want to, every single day.